What if I told you there was a molecule, one that's only 3 amino acids long, but that might have the power to protect and even help repair our brain cells? Well, today we're going to dive into exactly that. We're looking at Pinealon, a tiny synthetic peptide that has some seriously huge potential when it comes to brain health.
So, what is this stuff? Pinealon is what's called a tripeptide. That's just a sciencey way of saying it's a tiny chain of 3 amino acids: glutamic acid, aspartic acid, and arginine. You might see it called EDR for short. And the main thing to remember is that for a molecule this small, its biological footprint is surprisingly broad and consistently positive.
And this quote really gets to the heart of what makes Pinealon so fascinating. See, it's not about introducing some foreign substance to force a change in the body. Instead, it works more like a key in a lock, It activates these protective systems that are already built into our biology. It's basically helping the brain help itself.
Okay, that all sounds fantastic, but how? How does it actually do that? Let's pop the hood and take a look inside the cellular engine to really understand the mechanics here.
It's actually kind of cool how it works. This little 3 amino acid molecule uses this neat 3-part strategy to get the job done. It seems to work by boosting our cells' energy, calming down internal chaos, and protecting the brain's really delicate communication network. Let's break that down just a bit. First, it gives a boost to our mitochondria. You can think of those as the tiny power plants inside every single one of our cells, keeping them running at peak efficiency. Second, it gets to work on something called oxidative stress, and we'll talk about what that is in a second. And third, it helps preserve what are known as dendritic spines. These are absolutely crucial connections between our brain cells, essential for things like learning and memory.
So oxidative stress, a great way to think about it is like rust on a car. It's just the natural wear and tear that happens inside our cells as we age. And Pinealon, it acts like a really powerful rust-proofer, helping to calm that whole damaging process down and keep our cellular machinery in good working order.
All right, so that's the theory. But what happens when scientists actually put this tiny molecule to the test? Let's shift gears and look at what the research actually shows. The results from the lab are pretty compelling, actually. For instance, in animal models, it was shown to protect developing brains from harm. And what's even crazier, it also seemed to improve the cognitive performance of their offspring. And just across the board, in all sorts of different tests, it consistently lowered those rust-causing free radicals, helped cells manage their energy during stressful times, and, most importantly, it protected those really critical connections between brain cells.
And this is where it gets really interesting. When scientists tested Pinealon on aged human neurons in the lab, they found that it didn't just reduce DNA damage, it actually stimulated new growth in neural connections. Now that is a huge deal, because it suggests these benefits might not be limited to animal models. They could potentially work in us too.
So, when you start putting all these pieces of evidence together, what's the big picture? What's the main takeaway from all this research?
Well, if we boil it all down, you see these same themes popping up again and again. You've got the pro-energy effects, it helps power the cells. You have its antioxidant power, where it acts like a cellular shield. It also helps prevent premature cell death, protects the brain's super delicate wiring, and it even seems to support healthy brain formation right from the very beginning.
So here's the crucial point. Pinealon doesn't seem to just be patching one specific leak. It looks like it works upstream, strengthening the entire system's foundation. It's not a single target solution. It's more like a resilience coach for your brain cells, helping them withstand stress and damage all on their own. And that brings us right back to that first idea, unlocking the body's own protective programs. And all of this leaves us with a pretty fascinating question for the future, right? As we learn more and more about these minimal but mighty little molecules, you just have to wonder, how could this new understanding of tiny peptides completely reshape the way we all approach and support our own brain health?